Syria is holding its first multi-candidate election since the 1950s today. Current President Bashar al-Assad is expected to win. Critics of the Syrian government call the elections a sham.
Syrian President Bashar al-Assad is expected to easily win an election that's being widely denounced as a sham. Thousands of Syrians are lining up in areas controlled by the Syrian government to vote in Syria's first multi-candidate election in more than 40 years. The vote is being held amid the civil war that's left more than 160,000 people dead.
Of course, the importance of the elections is to restore security and stability for the country and to fight the mercenaries that came, and that is why there should be elections.
The elections are only held in government-controlled territory in the country. According to The Guardian, legal expatriates are allowed to vote in Syrian embassies in certain countries such as Russia, Romania, and Lebanon.
Syrians in Lebanon are starting to vote. This polling station looks more like a rock show, and President Bashar al-Assad is the headliner.
He's the president. Whatever they do, they cannot defeat him because he is God, Syria and Bashar.
Government critics paint an entirely different picture of the elections.
What kind of election is possible in this blasted landscape? None. Everyone who might vote has fled from here. And where we do find people, they want nothing to do with President Assad's poll. What elections, he says contemptuously. The elections of a butcher? It means nothing to us. He'd win even if no one voted for him. There won't be a single ballot box in any of the liberated areas, says another man.
According to The Wire, rebels, rivals, and the millions of Syrians displaced from their homes won't have access to the polls. The Guardian claims, it is not so much an election. Everyone knows the result after all. It is more like a head count of government supporters. To vote for anything other than Bashar al-Assad is to sign your own death warrant and that of your family. According to the BBC, the two other candidates are not widely known and have been unable to campaign on an equal footing with the president.
How can you have an election in a country, a democratic election, in a country that doesn't have any democratic institutions? There is a greater mood of confidence, I'd say, in the regime than there was 6 or 9 months ago. And of course, the Assad cult of personality continues to grow apace. Look at this stall here in the market. You can get Assad badges. You can get these, this is the Hezbollah logo, the Lebanese Shia militia, whose intervention in the war has been absolutely crucial.
Bashar al-Assad took power in 2000 after his father Hafez al-Assad died. He had ruled the country for almost 30 years. The crisis in Syria started during the Arab Spring in March 2011 and turned into an ongoing civil war.
12 years of repression had to pass before thousands of people, following the example of Egyptians and Tunisians, took to the streets to demand reforms. At first, Assad's stance was conciliatory, but the repression continued, which in turn multiplied protests around the country. The army answered by opening fire against the demonstrators. Hundreds died, and thousands more were arrested. Any chance of a peaceful resolution died with the demonstrators.
While the original protest was a pro-democracy protest and there are still many rebels fighting for a democratic future, there are now tons of different rebel groups that all want different things, and some of them like each other and some of them don't. Some of them love Al-Qaeda and some of them love democracy.
The conflict in Syria has killed at least 160,000 people and displaced millions. That's a quick look at Syria. I'm Julia Rabe.